Before we start, I'd like to mention that the team battle maps are still open and we are in dire need to fill a ton of map parts that are open and available. I am hoping to get this out on Gingerbread Day via June 12th and hopefully make this the first CRK Mapathon. If you're interested, DM me on Discord, Twitter, or Tumblr, or let me know in the comment section of the map calls linked below. Oh, and a little warning. This episode may contain some triggering themes such as mentions of predatory behavior. I know it's supposed to be the first episode, but this story won't be pretty. In short, viewer discretion is advised. Howdy there! My name is ASHER, or ASHER if you can call me that. So, who am I and what's my deal? Well, I'm an animator, I make videos on YouTube, but I'm also a Warrior Cats animator with an unhealthy obsession with Cookie Run. And yes, I am drawing my Cookie Run OCs for the first episode because I wanted to finally do something with them because I adore them. Anyway, I have a lot of wild stories to tell, and I figured I'd start telling my wild adventures to you guys. And what better way to start with a story from my high school years? If you are, or were in high school, you'd probably had to put up with that one student you don't like in your high school. Me being an old guy, I've been there, and trust me, I had to deal with multiple annoying students back in my high school. But one always stood out to me in my memory. For this little story, I'm going to tell the tale of how I had to put up with a creepy high school junior. Back in the 2010s, I started off as a freshman in high school. I was pretty much the guy with anger issues who didn't like putting up with the other students and would rather be back home talking about Danganronpa with my elder sister, who was already a junior by the time I entered high school. I was pretty much the one who didn't like being around the other students, with the exception of some people I knew. Some who used to be my enemies ended up accepting me later down the line, and me getting along with new people in my school. To an extent, because some also liked to screw around with me, but then I learned to ignore them later on, and they finally took the hit and backed off until I went to another school in my senior year. During the time I was in my first year of high school as a freshman, I had 7 classes during my school, which were called periods. So there would be the first 3 periods, then lunch, then the last 4, then there would be an announcement of the final class, then we head on home. It was essentially like every day in a typical Monday to Friday school. There's this one biology class in my 4th where it was one of the science classes, and it was mainly next to one of the buildings, home to English classes where it was my 5th period class. Both buildings were between a parking roundabout, and close by was the running track. The reason I bring this up is because, well, there was another student who would pretty much go to that roundabout in the next period. For safety precautions, we're gonna call her, how about Janie? So, Janie had a small pack of her own. 2 guys who would walk with her to the same building as I did. I never paid any attention to her, just ran to my next class since my spiteful younger self wanted to be early for class. However, it was much later on that she attempted to engage with me. And for an additional note, she was a junior, pretty much 17 to 18 at the time. Meanwhile, I was still a freshman, around 15. This was back in 2013, so I don't recollect much. But she always had her hair placed in a bun alongside tons of makeup and fancy jewelry while she wore some cheap shirt and skinny jeans from Walmart. Pretty much one of those who claimed to be rich kids, quote unquote, that you would see if you were someone like me. So, second quarter of my freshman year. It was in December. In the town I used to live before my dad had to leave for his new job, it wasn't really that cold. Yeah, it had harsh winds, but it was especially common to feel some strong sunlight. It was on a cold but sunny day that I finished up my biology work, and all of us were waiting by the door, waiting for the school bell to ring. School bell rings, blah, 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 and I start heading out that door, just storming out of the science building and running as a Run Boy Run by Wood Kid was playing in the background. Of course, Janie and her friends were walking up the hill of grass that was part of the roundabout, so I had to go to the other side and catch my breath. Then soon, one of Janie's goons saw me. He tapped her shoulder, she looked at him, and he pointed at me. So she approaches me with a smug grin. "Hey, I heard this boy likes you," pointing to the tall guy who happened to be one of her goons. Of course, me being spiteful and already having to put up with being bullied in the past, was not having it. "I am not going to fall for your miserable little mind games. Please shut up and leave me alone." As I stormed off to my next class, I could hear her say, "What? What the fuck?" and some ramblings of the 2 guys that were inaudible because I was already far enough from the both of them. A day later, I went to tell the teachers what happened, like any other normal student with a brain who knows this is borderline creepy. You know what they told me? Just ignore them, she's just being a teenager. First off, you can't excuse downright creepy and concerning behavior just because they're a teenager, quote-unquote, especially considering how Janie was much older than I was. Second, why would you tell a student who is getting harassed or even bullied to ignore them? Some 17 to 18-year-old is out there, approaching a freshman, trying to bait them into a relationship with someone much older than them, and you're just going to shrug it off and do nothing? I know not every teacher is like this and can actually take action when they see something is wrong. And my old high school probably is doing a lot better in taking action these days. But even so, it just felt like they were letting Janie go off scot-free. That alone pretty much prompted me to be quiet about it. She still looked at me, but pretty much didn't engage with me at all and left me be. Maybe Janie took the hint, I thought. Or so she did! A few months later, she decided to be with me again. She finds out that I go to the same lunch period as she does. In most of my lunch periods, I was often the quiet kid who only ever engaged so my mom didn't nag about how I wasn't socializing. Even though I was bullied a lot back in middle school, so I wanted nothing to do with being friends with new people, unless it's someone I trust. I wanted to sit by myself with my food in hand, but every time there would be rambling, obnoxious, loud idiots who would hog the end of the table. Every single time. It was exceptionally rare for me to get a chance to finally be alone and look through DeviantArt on my own cell phone, way before I was finally given a touchscreen iPhone. It was on that day where I finally got a chance to sit by myself, and next to the table was one of my classmates, away from the other students and just be eating some old school mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, green beans, and chocolate milk. Just before I was about to go and eat, Janie slowly walked up for me. Cue what is probably the most questionably concerning exchange of all time. Hey, ASHER! Oh, hi. Remember me? What? You would run to the next class and pass by me. I spoke with you before. Okay. Do you want to go out with my boyfriend? What? Do you want to go out with my boyfriend? And the whole time she was making this really weird smile, like something out of those weird posters promoting gift cards or whatever the case. Come on, it's only gonna be one time. He said he wants to date you. It's me saying nothing at all. He has a huge
coffee.
And of course, Janie already ticked me off with her trying to get me to date someone who was most likely an adult. But that prompted me to be even more upset at her. You disgust me, I told her bitterly. Janie left me to get lunch, but she forgot one thing. You know one of the classmates I mentioned before Janie approached me? Yeah, we're bringing her in, and we're gonna call her Kate. She was from my coding class, and she saw the entire exchange. She was sitting at a table besides the one I was sitting in, and boy almighty, she was shocked. Seeing what Janie did, she spoke out my name. Cue the next exchange. ASHER, what did Janie just tell you? She asked me to date her boyfriend. What? But she's taken! I don't know why she asked me that. I'll go talk to her, just do what you need to do. And so I continued to eat my food, but I heard Kate and Janie talk between one another. I didn't hear what they said, but I think Janie got the scolding. Looking back now that I'm in my 20s, I just realized that Janie only ever said that because she wanted to beat me since I was the outcast in the eyes of most of the students. But still, even if you are a junior in high school, that still comes off as creepy behavior. It's not cute, it's not teasing or whatever, you're just making a younger person uncomfortable. So it was the next day that I finally had enough and went to talk to the teachers and point out how Janie is coming off as predatory. Same answer like I got months back. Ignore her! In short, they knew I was uncomfortable and did nothing still. I thought I was lost. Except besides Kate, another student found out about the ordeal. A senior student who we'll call Pastel. So Pastel hears me tell the teachers about Janie's weird, if not concerning behavior, and she's shocked. Wait, ASHER, some girl told you to date a senior who's a full adult? Yeah. Kay was also in my class, so she speaks for me too. Yeah, and Asher was uncomfortable with her and tried to get her to stop. And so I told Pastel everything that had happened, with Kate giving me some assistance and her side of events. Pastel was kind of shocked. So let me get this straight. Janie, a junior in high school who doesn't even know you, keeps approaching you and trying to get you to date older men who are most likely 18 to 20 while you're only 15? Yeah, and I don't know why she's doing this. Asher, this is bad. This is really bad. She shouldn't be interacting with you, period. I keep telling the teachers, but they won't do anything about it. I'll talk to Janie about this. This is borderline abnormal for her to try to be around you. Pastel also made sure Janie got scolded some more. I owe it all to Pastel and Kate, because if they didn't step up to stop Janie from whatever the heck she was trying to do, who knows what else she could have planned next. And of course, she came up to me one last time, but I decided to give her a little piece of my mind. Hey, I'm sorry. Fuck you, Janie! I don't forgive you! Okay. While I did try to be nicer with her later on, in the end, I realized she was just gonna do it again. So I made sure to ignore her and pretend she didn't exist. Even when she had that weird smile when I walked to high school, I never greeted her and avoided her like the plague. Until finally, happy ending, she finally dropped out of high school. And, well, I got nothing else to add. That was the end of it. After Janie dropped out of high school, I never saw her again. In fact, I never saw her anywhere before my dad had to take us to one of the states up north for his job. I guess she had a reason to leave. Or because the school caught her doing something bad. But still, I'm just glad I'll never have to put up with her ever again. But, what can you learn from this? In short, if you're a junior in high school, or even a senior, don't be weird and creepy towards people who are younger than you, and don't try to get them to do things they're not comfortable with. Trust me, you're better off letting a freshman be a freshman than endangering their life, even if what you're doing is a joke. And like what you've heard in my story, trying to lure a minor to date older people is not a joke. And minors, if someone you know is older than you and is doing any behavior that is predatory, be sure you tell an adult you can trust and take action. You're better to be safe than sorry. That's gonna wrap up today's episode. The next episode is going to be me drawing warrior cats while I talk about the oddest time I accidentally called out my own 6th grade teacher and my mom flipping out about it. If you want to see more stuff like this, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more Speedpaint stories. Until next time, I hope you like seeing me animate cats and cookies. But I'll be seeing you in the next episode. Hopefully. She finds out that I go to the same lunch period as she does. In most of my... Fuck. I can't even freaking... Oh, good lord. I know I talk very fast, but half of the time, it's always hard for me to, not stutter. Especially when you speak at a fast, alarming rate. Good lord. Same answer like I got. Good lord. I can't get my words right. You disgust me, I told her bitter. Fuck.